Hey babes, this week in the Codependency Alchemy podcast, we are going to explore alchemizing manipulation, and I'm excited to share some of the shadow work and somatic work that has supported me in alchemizing manipulation in my life. And yeah, we'll get into it. I do want to preface, I am not a licensed therapist. I don't claim to be. I am just a person. I'm a person who continues to do this work, who's devoted to healing the mother wound and healing codependency within myself. And I'm just sharing what has worked for me, the tools that I've learned along the way, whether that be through my own channel and listening to spirit or listening to the trees or the plants outside who are, communicating with me what I need through previous mentorship programs that I've been a part of, books that I have read. I am just here to share it all with you and hope that if it supports you or if it resonates with you, that it's a tool that you can use in your journey, and also trusting that anything that doesn't resonate just falls off of you like water. So let's go ahead and get into exploring manipulation and doing a little bit of shadow work. So earlier this month in the podcast, I had asked you to think of a time or a situation where you didn't get what you wanted, or you didn't get your way. This can be a great way to explore where manipulation can potentially show up in your life or in certain situations. When we don't get what we want, we kind of go a little bit cray-cray. At least I do. I'll speak for myself. So thinking about a situation where you didn't get what you wanted, identifying what you did, what you said, how you felt, and I want to lead us into what the fear was under that situation, because that's ultimately why we are acting the way that we're acting, because there's this underlying fear. So thinking about a situation where you didn't get what you wanted, what is the fear? I want you to finish this sentence to explore what the fear could potentially be. If I don't control the outcome, then what are you afraid will happen? And this is what we're exploring with the masculine part of us that manipulates, which we all have masculine and feminine energies within us. So if the masculine part of us doesn't have control of the outcome, what is it afraid will happen? So we're going to go into a little bit of a somatic practice. So if it's safe for you to do so, I invite you to find a comfortable place to sit or lie down. You can close your eyes or fix your eye on something in the room that brings you safety. I want you to tap into that masculine part of you that manipulates, that uses it as a tool to control or get a certain outcome. You can do this by thinking of a situation where you didn't get what you want. We're going to ask and uncover what the fear is by finishing this sentence. If I don't control the outcome, then what will happen? What are you afraid might happen? And taking a deep breath, I want you to explore where this fear lives in your body. Does it live in your belly, in your throat, in your chest, just noticing where it lives. Taking a moment to notice the color, the size, maybe even the texture. Maybe you're experiencing sensations. And now I want you to ask this part of you, what does it need? What does it need? How will it feel when it gets that need met? How will it feel when it gets that need met? And then just place your hand where that part of you shows up in your body. And just imagine from your hand that the felt sense of how it desires to feel. If it desires to feel safe, if it desires to feel love, if it desires to feel peace, flow, joy, whatever it was, allow that felt sense to pour into where that part of you lives in your body, the part of you that manipulates. If you are struggling to bring that felt sense to that part of you, you can think of a time where you might have felt that felt sense of safety maybe, or joy, or peace. Then you're going to bring that same energy to that part of you until you begin to see it alchemize, it transform, transmute back into its original form of love. And begin to just notice if you feel differently when you look at this part of you. The feminine uses manipulation as a tool for feeling accepted, loved, or needed. It has a fear of abandonment and rejection. So I want you to now feel where the feminine in you manipulates, where she might be seeking to control through ways of being needed, loved, or accepted. Maybe that's sexually, maybe that's through overgiving or self-sacrificing, giving of herself to get a need met. Where does that live in your body? That part of you. And what is the fear? If I don't do whatever the action is, then I'll be abandoned and rejected. And if I'm abandoned or rejected, then what is the fear of what would happen to you? Would you fear being alone, unloved? Just take a moment to be with that part of yourself. What does it look like? Feel like? What is the color, the shape, the texture, the size? We're going to ask that part of you now, what does it need? What does that part of you need? How will that part of you feel when it gets that need met? How will that part of you feel when it gets that need met? And on your next breath, taking your other hand and placing it on that part where this lives in your body. And I want you to imagine from your hand, you're pouring into that part the felt sense of how it desires to feel, or how it will feel when it gets that need met. You can imagine it as a light, maybe even noticing the color of the light that comes through. And just watch it as it transmutes and alchemizes. Notice how you feel. If you feel differently while connecting with this part of you. Just taking a few deep breaths here. I want to close with a poem from my book, Healing the Mother Wound with Mother Earth. Because it's important to remember that this part of us that uses manipulation as a tool to control was once a very wise part of us. And it's remembering to be compassionate towards it. So I'm going to read the poem Control on page 14. I love the part of me that needed control. She is the part of me that saved me when no one else would. She is the part of me that kept me safe. She built walls, she organized chaos, she planned for every foreseeable outcome. She protected me. She ran, she scaled mountains, she isolated herself. She felt heartbreak, and she found herself. In the depths of her pain, she learned how to love herself fiercely. So please go and love yourself fiercely today. Be gentle with yourself in the days after. This practice can bring up a lot. It can bring up a little. It can bring up nothing at all. Take what is for you and leave the rest. Looking forward to chatting with you all soon. Please, if this podcast supported you, share it with your community. Rate or review the podcast so others can access this support and this healing. Thank you all for your continued support. And if you want a copy of the book, Healing the Mother Wound, that I just read from, you can now buy it on BookBaby Bookstore, who's my publisher. You can also get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble as well. Sending so much love. Till next time.